Remember, the Valuation Masterclass is about transformation, not information. Congratulations, you made it through week 1. At least some of you have. In this lecture, we're going to review week 1 content and your performance. You're going to learn a life lesson of a financial analyst. We're going to look at outlook and top highlights of week 2. And teams will present their industry analysis page. Let's start reviewing week 1. You learn about accounting fundamentals all the way through gross profit and accounts receivables and payables. Under Finance Made Ridiculously Simple, you started to learn about competitive advantage starting with revenue and then understanding profit from a shareholder's perspective. I've designed Finance Made Ridiculously Simple to be simple but practical, where you're constantly looking at different sectors so that you really truly understand the financial measures. Let's look at your weekly notes. This is some examples of good work on weekly notes. It's always fun for us to see what you do and the way that you do it. Some of you take screenshots and show that in your notes, while other of you sit down and write it out because that's the best way to get it into your head. There's no right way or wrong way. It's the way that works best for you that matters. Here we can see a mix of notes and pictures. And then another page of notes and more notes. It's great to see the winner's code being written down. This is good notes, and the person taking these are putting it all together in their mind. So, before we go on, let's talk about accountability. The accountability sheet is where you fill in your number of hours every day and as you go throughout each week. Your objective is to do the work, and we're not trying to say that you should be doing this many hours. As you can see, Inara has done 20, Raghava has done 19, Benjamin 19, but you also have Tanakon at the bottom as an example doing 9. We're not asking you to do 20, we're asking you to spend the time that works for you, for the amount of work that you want to put into it, and keep putting in an honest number. Remember, at the top of this, you see in the red, it says 1 hour, 50 minutes would be written down as 1.25, and 1 hour and 45 minutes would be written down as 1.75. Remember, the Valuation Masterclass is about transformation, not information. Now, before we continue, I'm going to stop sharing for a moment and see your lovely faces, and also open up the boot camp for anybody that may be waiting in the waiting room. So we'll let any people that want to come in today to come in now, but from now on, for everybody, make sure that you're on time. And on time means early. Okay, Arush has come in. We've got a couple of other people that will come in. Now, everybody look at your name and look at other people's names. Make sure that you've got your name set up in such a way that people can easily catch it, understand your nickname, or anything like that. So, for instance, BX Change FX, hard to know the name. So make sure you got your name down so that we can see it. And also, if you're walking out on the street, you don't have to turn on the camera, that's okay. But, always get yourself as best that you can into a good position. Okay, we've got a couple more people that are coming in, and then we're going to continue. All right, I think we've got everybody in. I'm gonna lock the meeting again. So let's review your progress. We have 3 categories. If your progress is 80 to 100%, meaning you've completed 80 to 100% of the assignments this week, we call you a leader. If you completed 60 to 79, we call you a survivor, meaning you can survive, but you got to catch up. And if you're at less than 60, you're what we call DOR. That means you're at risk of dropping out on Monday. Pay close attention to where your name is. We've updated the progress this morning, so if you have made progress since then, it will not show on this table. Also, we track manually, so there might be errors. Here we can see team number 1. Team number 1 only has 3 people who have completed all assignments. That means 3 leaders. There's 4 survivors, and 17 people in group 1 are at risk of being kicked out. Let's look at team 2. We have 2 people that are at 100%, way to go. We have 5 survivors. We have 5 leaders. We have 6 survivors. And we have 14 people at risk of DOR. Let's look at team 3. We have 2 people at 100%, 1 person who's a survivor, and 20 people who are at risk of DOR, and 1 person has already dropped out. And finally, team 4. 3 people, way to go, Ploy Champu as an example, and you guys are at 100%, and then we have 6 survivors, 13 potential DORs. That means 64 of the attendees are at risk. Now, before I go further, if you see your name on that list in the DOR area, that means by Monday, you'll be kicked out of the boot camp, unless you can get yourself caught up. So if you see yourself on that list, you got to catch up over the weekend. I believe all of you guys can catch up and maintain that position. But this is a boot camp, unlike a on-demand course where you can go at your own pace. This is a group, this is a team, this is boot camp number 23. This is a proud group of hardworking people that are going to carry each other over the finish line. But if somebody can't make it, we can't wait. We have to move. Remember, the Valuation Masterclass Bootcamp is about transformation, not information. It's about transforming ourselves and going through this transformative process. This morning, I was interviewing someone for one of the podcasts that I host, and he was talking about the difference between metamorphosis and transformation. And what he said, what we were talking about, I went and looked on Google, and what it said was that metamorphosis is a natural process of transformation. It naturally happens. But transformation is not natural. It doesn't have to happen. And what it said was that every, how did it say it? It said, something along the lines of every transformation is a metamorphosis, but not every metamorphosis is a transformation. The idea being, transformation is not necessarily natural. We have to push ourselves to that elevated state. And that's what the Valuation Masterclass Bootcamp is all about. And that's what you guys are doing. So Let's remember the winner's code. The winner's code is a place to always go back to and think about. Technical skills are essential, but it's our daily habits that determine how far we actually go in life. Here's what separates those who improve every week, not just in the boot camp, but in life. It's the winner's code. And look at the bottom. Show up, speak up, step up, and never give up. What are we saying in the winner's code? Be reliable, keep your word, and deliver every time, no excuses. Be proactive. Don't wait for direction. See what's needed and take action. Be coachable. Seek feedback. Apply it fast and keep improving. Communicate clearly. Say what you mean, simply and respectfully. Pay attention to details. Check your work. Fix mistakes and take pride in quality. Stay calm and positive. Be steady under pressure and lift others with your attitude. Be a great teammate. Support others. Share credit and strengthen the group. Plan and prioritize. Know what matters most and focus on your energy there. Get tough. Stay disciplined and keep moving forward when it gets hard. And take care of your body. Protect your energy with rest, food, and movement. There is me in one of my yoga poses from the morning. Remember, the Valuation Masterclass is about transformation, not information. Let's talk about a life lesson. Most people, the life lesson is doing hard things makes life easier. Most people don't want to work too hard. Don't get discouraged when something's hard. Stick to it, and eventually you're going to stand out because most people will have given up long ago. The Valuation Masterclass Bootcamp is hard. Now, if you want proof that doing the hard things pays off, just listen to Nick Saban. Let me introduce you to Nick Saban. He's a legendary Alabama coach who built his legacy on the principle, you are entitled to nothing. He won 7 national championships, the most by any college coach in college football history. He believed that talent is worthless without focus, preparation, and humility. His message became a timeless lesson in discipline, accountability, and sustained success. Let's play the video and hear what he says.
Okay, y'all ready for a lecture? Talk about the importance of nothing. You get up every day, you're entitled to nothing. Nobody owes you nothing. You could have talent, but if you don't have discipline and you don't execute, you don't focus, what do you get? Nothing. If you're complacent and not paying attention to detail, what does that get you? Nothing. So, nothing is acceptable but your best. Everything is determined by what you do and you trying to be your best so that you can build on positive performance. That's the only thing. There should be nothing else.
Great motivation by a legendary coach. So are you devoting enough time to transform? Do you still have a chance to pass the boot camp? Remember, discipline is key. I am Gunnery Sergeant Artman, your senior drill instructor. The winner's codes sets the foundation, but in finance, success isn't just about working hard, it's about working smart. And that's the essence of competitive advantage, the edge that explains why winners win. Last thing to consider about competitive advantage, many of your peers in life won't even try. You'll beat them easily. Some will try for a while and then they'll quit. They're still beatable. And the top 10% are disciplined and relentless. Aim to outperform the 10%. That's where real growth happens. One last thing. I've accomplished a lot in my life, but guess what? I didn't pass CFA level 2 on my first go. And I didn't pass CFA level 3 on my first go. But as you can see from my experience, I never gave up. In fact, I rose higher to become president of CFA Society Thailand. So my challenge to you is to never give up on your dream. I want to show you another short and final video clip from tonight's session. Rocky is an American sports film written in 3 days by and starring in Sylvester Stallone. Rocky Balboa, or Sylvester Stallone, is a poor, small-time club fighter and debt collector, and he gets a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship. This was filmed in Philadelphia. Rocky steps are now considered cultural landmarks. You're going to see him run up them. Rocky and its theme song have become a pop cultural phenomenon, an important part of the 1970s American pop culture. I remember watching it when it came out and being so inspired. What you're going to see is the scene of him training for the big fight. What made it so inspiring when we were young was watching this is that he had no money, so he had to work out on the streets, become a street fighter to survive. Let's roll the film.
You're gonna kill him!
This is my favorite part, as you push yourself to run faster in the boot camp. And faster. And faster. And top speed. Let's go. These are Rocky steps. You're gonna fly now. You've seen 2 short clips. What are your takeaways from those 2? Turn on your microphone and share your thoughts.
From the second clip, what I took is, even if you, oh my God, accidentally my video is turned off. Okay, I start again. From the second video, what I took up is, even if you are slow at the beginning, that means you don't know anything. But if you really work hard, you will end up with one of the best.
Great. Yep. And what about others? Anyone else?
For me, you need to be consistency on your work. and have a lot of discipline. I mean, yeah, just go straight to what your dream
Yeah,
and make it done. Yeah.
consistency is so key, you know. It's just about consistency is hard when the work is hard, right? It's easy when the work is fun. That's great. Yep. And any other thoughts or comments?
Oh, when I see the video when in the for his training, I feel that he was so happy about working in progress. So I believe that he does not think about too much about winning or losing. He just left what he's doing. So I believe that what I take away from this video was always happy and believe in yourself and like that even though in your progress, you should be happy. Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, I think that's good too, because I think it's hard to push yourself through something when you don't really like it or you don't want it or it's not your thing. And the trick in life is to get out of those things as best that you can, get up someone else to do it or get out of it and get focused on the things that you really want, that really turn you on. What about Nick Saban, what he said? Anybody have any thoughts about that or about the Rocky video? I just love that part when he's just accelerating, running faster and faster. And it makes me ask the question, when was the last time you ran at your top speed? For many people, it's back when they were a kid. Any other thoughts or observations? I have to apologize to the ladies. Sometimes, you know, it's boxing and football and all that, but hopefully you get some inspiration from it. All right, we're going to keep going. I figure some of you are going to need that inspiration for this weekend to catch up. Let's continue. Remember, the Valuation Masterclass is about transformation, not information. So you're going to get to know your first company and start working on it. Each of you is going to write 4 complete equity research reports and present them. And we're going to announce your first company on Monday. In week 2, you will have 2 assignments related to that company. Plus, we have prepared a special live session that will help you think about how to come up with a great story. You don't have to worry about your first company over this weekend. Just worry about catching up. As week 2 begins, you'll see some people ahead and some behind. And it's easy to look around and think, I'll just do what everyone else is doing. But that's where many talented people lose their edge. I want to talk briefly about the bandwagon effect. It happens when we copy others' choices just because it seems like everyone else is doing it. It starts as a mental shortcut that helps you make decisions quickly. People rely on it because it takes too long for them to think about or evaluate situations. As more people come to believe in something, others also hop on the bandwagon regardless of the underlying evidence. Following others' actions or beliefs can occur because of conformism or deriving information from others. Much of the influence of the bandwagon effect comes from the desire to fit in with peers. Making similar selections as others is seen as a way to gain access to a particular social group. And in social psychology, people's tendency to align their beliefs and behaviors with the group is known as herd mentality or groupthink. I want you to think carefully about the bandwagon effect because it's probably one of the biggest logical fallacies or mistakes that people make in their thinking in the area of valuation. Remember, the Valuation Masterclass is about transformation, not information. So here are some presentation tips. Present tonight as if you're competing for your listeners' attention and retention. Bring your energy and passion. Slow down and stay confident. Try to focus on the most important points you want to convey. Now it's time for you to present. Each presenter will have 3 minutes, and then we're going to have some feedback session. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and turn it over to Momin, and let's have some fun. Meanwhile, you may get to say hi to my mom because I hear her moving toward her bedroom. Let's see if she stops by. All right, Moment.
Right, guys. So we have four great presenters from each team. We have one. So we're gonna start with team one. And right now we have Arash Jain. So ready to go. I'm gonna set the timer for 3 minutes. So just, don't go beyond the time. I'm not sure if team one presenter is around or not. Yeah, he's around.
Hello,
But
am I audible?
yes, you need to turn on your camera and then start sharing your screen.
Yeah, just a minute.
For everybody while we're waiting, this assignment is deceptively, it seems simple, but it's actually hard. In fact, it's what you find is it's hard to write short, simple things and make conclusions from things. But I would say, as we go into tonight's Feedback Friday, the main thing is that we want you to have made progress on it. We don't expect perfection in what you present tonight. And we're going to give you feedback that you can then take to apply and modify. Keeping in mind that this is the only major thing that you're going to do as a group. So after this, everything's going to be individual. I know it's not easy, in the first week for everybody to figure out how the heck you're going to work together, but you made it. So that's the key. All right. We see that now, and we don't hear you though. I think you gotta unmute your mic.
Okay, is my
And
screen audible? Oh, sorry, visible?
your screen is audible and your voice is visible. And
So sorry.
Moment will start the timer as soon as you start speaking. So just take a breath and then go.
Okay, so I'm here to present on the just a
Sometimes people bring up the one that wasn't modified yet, and then they got to switch to the one that was modified. So let's see. Moment, what are you drinking? Okay.
okay. So I'm going to start it.
Yep.
Our topic is intelligent transformation of capital good industry. We are going to present what the future look like in the capital industry in the next decade. According to our analysis, we present that capital good industry is going to be transformative by 2034, and what our team has analyzed is we expect it to grow to up to 13 trillion from currently 8 trillion market by approx 5% CAGR annually. We also expect and generative AI to be the main part of the transformation in the capital good industry, as AI has been taking over the market for the past 2 years, and we think capital industry is not going to be left alone by that. I think mainly AI adaptation is going to be in the EV market and smartphone market. We forecast 88% is to be of generative AI adaptation by,
Keep going.
sorry,
You got it. Keep going. You're doing okay.
we expect and mainly in transformation in the electrical equipment. As we expect the market of electrical EVs are going to be heavily transformed by 2030 and grow to 360 billion, an approx of 6% CAGR. As EV has been transformative for the past decade, and we expect to grow as in rapid pace. We also expect our data centers to be a main part of the industrial transformation in it, as all the AI need and energy to perform in the coming years. We are bullish on the market of capital goods as it's not an hoax and it's mainly increased by the demand of the consumer industry.
All right, is that it?
Yeah,
How do you
I'm
feel?
getting nervous.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So the first thing is that, congratulations to you for stepping up and presenting, even though it's nerve-wracking or so, that's the way you get better at presenting, is presenting as much as you can. So well done with that. There's a couple of things that I'll point out, and then this is feedback for the whole team, so not just Arush. In fact, he's done the hard work by getting out here and presenting. So let's look at a few things. One of the things that I want you to think about is that when you were talking about forecasts, you were saying oftentimes you would say we forecast, but I believe what you were meaning to say, for instance, is McKinsey forecasts 88. Right? And so one of the things that you guys all need to think about is making sure that you attribute the forecast to either yourself or to an outside body. There's nothing wrong with, using outside research. In fact, I think it makes you stronger as an analyst to be able to say, I've read and I've looked at some of this great research and this is what they say. But what's great is when you are able to separate your opinion from that and say, they say this, but I think that, and just always make sure to separate the fact of what people say from opinion. The second thing that I was thinking to myself as I listened to the first part is 5% CAGR. At first, I felt like 5% CAGR, what you're presenting is that 5% CAGR is strong growth, but actually 6% CAGR of revenue growth is the average revenue growth of all companies. And so I started questioning whether it's, super fast growth. In fact, it looks like just, inline growth. So that's something that you got to think about. The data center stuff is fascinating, and the AI adoption, in some ways, I think you could argue that it could be really destructive at some point, like the over investment. So right now, what you're doing is, you're talking about what trends you're seeing, but feel free as you work through this and talk through it with your teams that you can make a kind of a conclusion and say, we think this is going to be a problem, or we think this is going to be great, or whatever. So you don't have, just because you're using other people's information like Goldman Sachs or McKinsey or something like that, it doesn't mean that they're right. You can have a different opinion on that. Now, of course, it's the first week, so you don't really know much about it. So it's hard to make a strong stand on it. But those are some of the things that I would say. Maybe I'll turn it over to the team and then let you guys give a few comments, and then we're going to move on to the next one.
Right, so I'm gonna just make a quick comment about the titles on the right-hand side. Like AI adoption, the power and electrical equipment market, and so on. So those are not like so strong. So try to come up with some strong titles, but then I'm gonna leave it to the rest of the team. I just need to tell you something. You just came out so nervous, and this would be your real enemy. Because, let me tell you a quick story. I remember I had a physics exam when I was at high school, and then, I ran out of time, only 10 minutes left, and then I still have a bunch of questions to solve. So I forgot everything. And then I kept looking at the clock, looking back to the exam and so on. I forget all of the answers. And right now, after more than 15 years, I remember the answers to the questions. But I couldn't remember at the time of the exam. Guess what? Why? Because I was so nervous. So that's your enemy. I just came out of the exam and then I decided I will never get nervous again. In any exam, any interview, and so on. What's meant for you is going to be for you. No matter how hard you tried, if it is not meant for you, you will never get it. So just get relaxed, go for it, and try to show up. Then never be nervous, because the persons you are presenting to, has been in the same situation before, maybe. But you're presenting to them right now because they get over to that. They just, presented well, and then they came over all of these fears and so on. And now it's easy to go show up and present. So never get nervous again, either in an interview, in an exam, or a presentation, because if you sound that nervous, I'm not gonna take any word that you're saying for granted. Never. I'm gonna just sit down like this and wish that you finish as soon as possible. That's it.
Yep. Well done. And well done for doing it. A lot of people are watching and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe it's so. Okay. Any other comments from the team?
Yeah, Arish, well done. I would have expected to have some sort of overview of the capital goods industry, what it encompasses, who are the main players, the market cap. So I think it's lacking in that. Might be worth having a look at that in the first paragraph, perhaps.
Yep. Good point. Okay. Any other feedback for the team? So there's some other things in here that are kind of things related to formatting, and I'm gonna leave that for right now, and then we'll come back to that later. But let's go on to the next one. All right, you can stop sharing.
Yeah, I like to say something.
Yep.
Yeah, first of all, thank you all for your feedback. It's really helpful. And I'm kind of nervous in the starting, but after hearing what Momin said and what Andrew you have said, I think I kind of feel confident in my next presentation. So I hope to be done better next time. Thank you
Yep.
for the
Wonderful. You're on your way. Yep. Let's give him a big round of applause. That's not easy to do, guys. So well done. All right.
Well done. You're gonna make it perfect next time. So let's move to team two. And then from team two, we have Benjamin. So Ben, ready to rock?
All right,
Benjamin.
ready. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
share my screen.
Just go for it.
All right.
Now Arush can relax. He did it. All right.
All right, so yeah, it's coming up. Okay, right? Everybody can see it.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, let's get started. So AI growth with reshoring momentum fuels capital goods. So getting into it, capital goods are the backbone of the global industry. It's responsible for creating infrastructure and manufacturing. Manufacturing through machinery, engineering, and automation. So the current market share of the capital goods index is approximately 7 trillion US dollars, with the electrical equipment, machinery, and MRO sub-industries taking the lead, with Eden, Parker Hannifin, and MRO on top, respectively. So with the adoption of smart factories and AI implementation, they stand to benefit from the reshoring of US manufacturers. And moving forward, AI is accelerating growth across core capital goods sub-industries. So first off, Fortune Business Insights project the electrical equipment to double by the year of 2032 at a 10% CAGR as power systems and data center infrastructure scale up. And secondly, Mordor Intelligence believes that industrial machinery is forecasted to grow at 20% by the year of 2030 on the basis of automation and energy efficient capex. While lastly, industrial distribution, stated by Straits Research, they forecasted to grow from 8 trillion US dollars to 13 trillion US dollars by the year of 2033 at a 5% CAGR on the basis of industrialization, MRO demand, and supply chain digitalization. And to give a brief example on how they're implementing it, a leading company like Parker Hannifin in machinery uses AI for connected maintenance, performance analytics, and predictive control across its motion and fluid systems. And before we conclude, reshoring is gaining momentum. So 30% of OEMs are already reshoring and 16% are also considering it, mainly from China, standing at 35%, and Southeast Asia at 24%. So key drivers include proximity to engineering, lower freight costs, and reduced geopolitical risks. With AI and reshoring, it could drive sector growth. Thank you.
Great. I thought that was good. Next time you present, I want you to bring more life to it, though, because you're kind of presenting like a monotone. So make sure you bring your energy. Think about the way you talk when you're talking to your friends, as an example. The chart on the upper left-hand corner is an interesting one because it shows this rise from 100 to 550. And the title is Capital Goods Climb as AI and Reshoring Take Hold. I was pretty amazed because I was thinking to myself, reshoring happened a lot faster than I thought, right? Particularly, we can see it's, really rising quickly. But then I realized, wait a minute, that's not reshoring. What is that chart? Do you know what that upper left-hand chart is? How do they construct it? What is it?
Or the upper left-hand chart, right? It's the MSCI index. So it's pretty much a weighted index between
A weighted index of what?
of the capital goods market. So, but the top players,
What part of the capital? What is it about the capital good market that they're measuring?
like the specific sub-industry, or
What about the sub-industry are they measuring? So what they're measuring, I believe, is they're measuring accumulation of the price in the market of the companies in that industry, right? And if that's true, which I believe it is because it says index, what it would mean is that the market is anticipating and pricing in the reshoring, which is great. But it doesn't mean that reshoring is happening, right? Because in order to understand if reshoring is happening, we'd have to look not at what the market's saying, but what the actual statistics are saying. Now, I don't have that, and I don't know if it's available, but that's an interesting chart. In fact, if you let's just say that we could get a measure of reshoring, and you could rebase it to 100 at the same time as the period that you have here, or at some time, and then look at the two of them, I bet you'd find that the market is pricing in reshoring much faster than the reshoring's actually happening. And that's the way the market works, but also the market, people can be wrong and it doesn't catch up. So anyways, just to make sure in that upper left-hand chart that it's seen that it's ultimately a measure of the share prices of those companies, which I believe it is, because someone said gross return. But otherwise, I thought, the flow of it was good. I liked the reference to companies. I like how you told a little story in the second paragraph about Parker Hannifin, and that, that was helpful for us to, hear about it. The only last thing I would say is that some of these things they sound great, like predictive AI or generative AI or digitalization or performance analytics and predictive controls and stuff. But sometimes those things don't mean a lot to the reader or the listener. So just be careful not to get caught up, for the whole team, don't get caught up in buzzwords too much, because, it can end up being a little bit meaningless. All right, let me turn it over to the others to have some comments.
Yeah, we'll just have like one quick comment about the structure on the right. So if you see the first title, you just ended the title with a comma and then you continued on. But this happened also in reshoring in the end. But they didn't have the first, like second one, AI is accelerating, you stopped and then you started talking. So maybe like keep it the same, use the same comma, and then you start explaining right away, right after the title. That's one thing. Yeah, I think I'm gonna turn it over to the rest of the team.
Yeah, and let me make a comment about that because we haven't really clarified this too much. I prefer the second paragraph titling where you say the title and you put a period after it. I don't really like that first one where you're kind of just highlighting the beginning of a sentence because the whole purpose of the title is that I can read first, second, third title and know what the meaning is. And that's the reason why I prefer it. And I think we've got to clarify that in our thing because this is a little bit of a new format that we're using. And that means that reshoring is gaining momentum should be followed by a period, not a semicolon.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Lee or others?
Yeah. Well done, Ben. The chart which indicates about reshoring, shifting out of Asia, I'm just not quite sure what the numbers mean. China 150, Taiwan 46.
Oh, I think the numbers got a little bit messed up when we are changing it, but the original numbers are let's see if I can.
I
Yeah,
think it's meant to be
yeah, it's meant
percent,
to
isn't it?
be it's meant to be
Yeah.
this number, yeah.
Yeah, and I know you've made some changes and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's the titling is U.S. manufacturers leave China to produce at home. So what does 35% mean?
From the reshoring initiative report, they just it's 35% that manufacturers that left from China to actually produce at home.
Like
Pretty much.
35% of American
Yeah,
companies
yeah,
in China
strictly American
left.
companies, yes.
Okay, and then go back to the final version that you presented. Yeah, I think the title is good in the sense that you're trying to explain, what it means, but you still need to somehow identify what it actually is. So, okay, yep.
Okay. What it implies, right? Thank you.
All right, let's go. Let's keep going. Good job.
Well done, Ben. Then let's move to team 3. We have Shreya.
Yeah, I love to see the clapping. Remember, friends for life, support each other. And it's, everybody's done work on this, or many people have, so, well done. All right.
Sir, is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay, so good evening, everybody. Today I start with my presentation of electrical components are the lifeblood of the market. The United States are the current leader in the capital goods market, responsible for over 53% of the US $7 trillion market cap, according to MSCI, holding 53% of the global market valuation, valued about US $7 trillion. Other key contributors include Japan 13%, France 10%, Germany 7%, and Sweden 4%, as shown in the pie chart on the top right. This dominance shows that the US remains at the forefront of the technological innovation and industrial productivity. Now, looking at the top left bar chart, we can see that the projected growth of the electrical components market is expected to rise from US $485 billion in 2024 to US $688 billion by 2029, which represents a compound annual growth rate CAGR of around 8%. This expansion is mainly driven by emerging technologies like IoT, artificial intelligence, and rise of consumer electronics, all of which requires more sophisticated and efficient components. If we move to the bar chart at the bottom left, we can see the breakdown by component type. The active components segment is leading the market with 46%, followed by the passive components at 32%, electromechanical components at 22%. This is a key insight because active components like transistors, integrated circuits, and diodes generate and control energy, making them essential in modern automation and smart machinery. Their demand continues to surge as industries push for more energy efficient systems. Lastly, the bottom right chart highlights the major global players in the industry. Siemens leads the market with a market value of US $219 billion, followed by Eaton at US $153 billion, Schneider at US $141 billion, and ABB at US $137 billion, Emerson at US $79 billion, and Fastenal at US $48 billion. These companies dominate the landscape through their contributions to power management, automation, and industrial innovation. Looking ahead, the business research company forecasts the electronic components market to keep growing until reaching US $688 billion by 2029. Furthermore, Institute Analytica projects that the active electronic components market alone will expand from US $351 to US billion to US $668 billion by 2033, showing a 7% CAGR. This consistent upward trend.
Okay, that's
Yes,
good. That was good. I think when you get to when we get to Monday and you see about your company, you'll probably need to make some changes to some parts of it, but you don't know that company yet, so it's not yet clear. It raises a point for everybody. Don't do any work on the industry analysis over the weekend, because once you see your company on Monday night, then you'll understand kind of how you want to change things around, and you'll do some revisions and present again at the end of next week on this assignment. One thing I would say is that be careful about reading everything. When I saw you read Siemens at 219 billion and then Eaton at 153 billion, I thought you were going to stop there, but you said Schneider at 141 billion, but I thought you were going to stop there, and then you said ABB at 137 billion. I thought you were going to stop there, but you went to Emerson at 79 billion, and then you went to Fastenal at 48 billion. What was interesting is I think you didn't say W.W. Grainger at 46 billion. But the point is that that's just kind of repetitive stuff. It's nothing wrong with saying, talking about the first two maybe, or first three or whatever, but you don't have to say all of them. But overall, I think it's good. Others, Momin? She doesn't like Grainger.
Yeah, maybe. So I'm just still looking at it. So if someone, has any points to add,
Yep.
please add.
Anything
Like
from
at
you,
least,
Lee, or others?
that the chart down below, Granger and Fastenal and so on, they are not clear. So just to try to clarify, and also, if you're gonna add like the dollar symbol over there, maybe like added US dollar billions, and then you have it, and you don't have to say them all. Maybe cut one or two of them and have the main ones, but don't do it until you know the company, so that you might need to change it. Also, one thing is you might need to move the players chart up, to be your upper right hand chart instead of like United States, Japan, and so on, so that it highlights the main players as your chart right next to the first paragraph over there.
Okay.
And for everybody, there's a lot of formatting issues that you got to work on. So for instance, if you look at chart upper right and chart bottom right, the two bar charts, there's no title telling us what we should learn from this. In addition, as Momin is saying, in all of these charts, you have, let's just look at the chart in the upper left. You have $485 billion. You're using a dollar sign there, right? But you already show on the axis that it's US dollar billion. So there's no need to show the dollar sign at 485, at 515, at 554. And the same thing you want to do in the bottom left. Instead of showing, I always look for ways to reduce content and kind of have less. So you can say this is in percentage, and then you don't need to say 22%, 32%, 46%. You can just say 22, 32, and 46. So it's the same with all of them. Okay, good.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank
All
you,
right. I think that's it. Let's go.
All right, so let's move to the final team.
A hand.
But I don't. Yeah. Let's.
Oh yeah.
So we should have Uliao Tububula in here, but I don't see him. So anyone from Team 4 will take the initiative and then show us the slide. I tried to reach him out on Slack, but no answer.
So is anyone gonna show for team one? If no one, I can show for
Go
as
ahead.
for the team four. Yes. So hello guys, can you click the slide?
Yep. Now just put it in presentation or slideshow. Yep. Great.
Okay. So
Loading. Okay, we see it now.
So, hello guys, my name is Mia, and today I'm gonna explain about the capital goods industry. So, capital goods will bounce due to stability and defense-driven growth. So, the capital goods industry is critical to the global protection and development, and it is now valued at $7 trillion as for October 2025, and the 3-year annualized return is 29%. It's comprised of industrial machinery, construction equipment, and components which are crucial to the manufacturing and infrastructure development. The industry is now dominated by the big companies like General Electric, Caterpillar, and RTX, which are expected to grow due to the arising aerospace and defense spending and increased demand for sustainable infrastructure and electronics. The sector also showed resilient growth, with the market cap rising to $6.9 trillion in October 2025, and it is mainly driven by 4 key trends. Capital expenditure on digitalization is the main driver, which reached to $2.8 trillion globally by 2025, and followed by surging military spending at $2.7 trillion, and decarbonization and localization also contribute to $2.1 trillion and $0.24 trillion respectively. So despite our solid growth, the sector also faced some major risks, such as supply chain disruption, which raises costs, and stricter sustainability rules, which increase compliance burden, and moreover, rapid tax shift, which outpace slow adaptation. So overall, economic and geopolitical uncertainty further strain investment and demand. So thank you for listening.
Great. That's a great example of reading it and sounding, animated, not just Ben. If you compare your voice, you can go back and listen to this. You'll hear your voice is stable, whereas Miet Hein is more animated. So listen to that when you come back in. All right, you got to share the screen again because I want to give you some feedback.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't prepare much for this presentation.
Yeah. That was good though at the last minute. I think one of the things I want to tell all the groups is that when you're doing a industry analysis, generally you don't talk that much about the price of the stocks. It's more about the fundamentals of what's going on in that company or in that industry. And so I noticed a couple of teams have done this capital goods industry market cap or that type of thing. Yeah, I mean, there's some reason why it may be worth showing that, but generally what you want to do is really focus in on, what are the key things that are going on in the industry. Now, some of these you're going to have to work on a little bit. For instance, the industry risk landscape in the bottom right is so tiny that it's so hard to see what it really is. Now, I suspect that you've done a screenshot to put it in there, and that makes it hard then to rework it because now you got to make it on your own to make it fit. But ultimately, you're going to have to look at how to, make sure that every graph has its meaning. Now, in the bottom left-hand corner, as well as almost all of these graphs, actually all 4 of them, they have the type of titles that I hate. And the reason why I hate them is because they're just statements of fact. Market capitalization, capital goods industry market cap growth, comparison of major capital goods industry trends by monetary value. And even Deloitte says industry risk landscape. Each of those tell me nothing. They don't say anything. Is it going up? Is it going down? Is it good? Is it bad? So the actual identification of what is in the chart should be moved down to somewhere, in the chart or around the chart. But at the top, you've got to have a title that says, this is the issue, and this is why it's positive or negative. And that's the fun part when you get to the end of a report, is making sure that everything's labeled nice so that people get the picture. Now, let me ask you a question. In the first upper right-hand corner in the text, it says, the capital goods industry is critical to global production and development and is valued at $7 trillion as of October 2025, with a 3-year annualized return of 29%. Is that good or bad? What would you say? What do you guys think? What about other team members? Is it good or bad?
I think it's good because it is above 6% giga. That is average in the market.
Okay.
That is 10%, I think, annually.
Okay, and let's think about that for a second. If you're presenting to me as an investor, you usually will assume that I don't own it, right? And so you're presenting it and saying, okay, here, I think this is attractive or it's not. If I don't own it and it went up 29% in the past, I'm not happy because I missed that 29%, number one. But also it could be a sign that I'm going to buy it at the top. So when you've got some information like that, you've got to then take it to the next step and say, despite its 29%, growth, we think there's still, 30% opportunity or something like that. Or we may come across and say, we think that this industry's share prices have outpaced the actual movement that's happening. So that's something that, you want to think about. Surya, I noticed you turn on your microphone. You have anything you want to say?
No.
Okay. Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah. So that's something just to be thoughtful about as you're talking about it, because sometimes good is bad and bad is good, and sometimes good is good and bad is bad, but we don't always know. So, okay. Other questions or feedback?
Yeah, I was going to highlight, like the generic titles that doesn't give us anything. Also, one thing, I think you might need to separate the paragraph about the risks in the end, like to make it a third paragraph, and then like have a title for that. And also, I don't like listing. You're listing, okay, supply chain, economic, regulatory, geopolitical, and so on, without giving us like elaboration on that, and also, without giving conclusions out of that. Like
or what's
here
important,
you're reacting.
or what's important out of that.
Yeah, yeah, just to try to highlight the two main risks and how they could affect the industry in a good way or a bad way, and so on, and have some conclusions. Now you're acting as an analyst. Otherwise, you're just a news reporter collecting reports and then reporting to us, and that's it. So just to try to come up with some conclusions over here. But for all of the teams, what we saw today is just much better than what I have seen yesterday, of course, in the first session, and then, what I have seen in the second session. So you're just improving. Take some rest during the weekend, get done with all of you have of the tasks that you missed and so on. Then once you know the company on Monday, you can just get back to it, iterate, and make it perfect.
Great. You can stop sharing your screen.
Okay, thank you for the feedback.
Yep. So then let me just wrap up a couple quick things. Yep. The first thing is good job. It's your first assignment, and it's first team assignment, and we know it's so hard to get people working together. So I'm sure a couple people probably did a lot of the work on that, which is fine. That's just the way it goes in the first week. But the key thing now is the main things that I saw that we got to work on is titles that tell us what's in the paragraph and what's in the chart. The second thing is going back to the equity research guide and making sure that we've got things labeled properly. And then I would say also tightening up your paragraphs, try to shorten them, and then try to get these great titles. I always like to think that the reader only is going to read the title. And if they could only have time to read title 1, title 2, title 3, would they get the meaning of what you're trying to say? And in many cases, they won't. And also, finally, we need, great and punchy titles. And at the top of the whole document is the title of what is your opinion? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it neutral? Is it this? Is it that? Make sure that your opinion, comes across clearly. But last thing is, don't do any work on this over the weekend. Put it aside and wait until you get your company, and then you'll see more about the direction that you want to take it over there. All right? So, congratulations for making it to the end of the first week. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to close out the boot camp because we don't like to go too long so you guys can get back to work and get back to your life. But congratulations on your work so far. And then I'm going to open up the office hours, which will be from now forward. So those people that have to get on with their evening, feel free to log off, and then we'll record this and we'll put it in. For those that in the Slack channel, for those that have questions either about the assignment or about anything else, feel free to ask those questions now. For those people that have to leave, we'll see you on Monday.
Hi, Andrew. I have a question.
Yes.
So for the company next week that is going to be assigned to us, is everyone the same for every group, or
Yep.
each
All groups are the same.
all group are the same? So, okay. So, and then for the presentation of the sectors, right, which is what we're presenting now, do we change it individually, or we still use the same presentation collectively?
So after you get the company, then you as a team will make some modifications to the industry analysis page. But there's always only one industry analysis page per team.
All right, understand.
And then once you say, okay, we're done with the industry analysis page, you'll present it next week, and then we'll give any final feedback. And then it's pretty much done, and that's what everybody will put in their report. So everybody on the team will have that same industry analysis page.
But also, today, if you haven't submitted your own presentation, so you already have this final version, you're not going to make any modifications until Monday. So if you haven't recorded your presentation video presenting the version you have right now, please do and just submit.
Yep.
Because I think you were asking about that in the Slack channel.
Oh yeah, but I think I submitted. It's just
Okay.
rejected, but for some reason.
Yeah, maybe it's rejected because it was like wrong formatting. Maybe there was no sound and someone just double check. Maybe you passed, the time limit and so on. Just double check and then, resubmit again.
All right.
Yeah,
Thanks.
the only time that you all need to resubmit when the assignment is rejected. But once it's approved, no need to resubmit. But that doesn't mean that you will throw it, behind and forget about it. We
Yeah.
always get feedback and so on, so you have to always iterate.
Yeah. So another thing is that when the Zoom presentation is being submitted, there are 3 files, right? After the record.
Just submit the MP4 file. You
Oh.
have an audio file, and then you have like the text file, and then the video file, submit the video file.
All right, thanks.
It's the biggest one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No
Other questions?
I have one question.
Yep.
I got a little bit confused here. On Monday, we will get which industry we are going to analyze. And then coming Friday, we are presenting what?
So, your industry, you already got your industry, right?
Right.
That's what you
Yeah.
presented tonight.
Yeah.
What's going to happen is once you see the company that you're assigned, then you're going to reshape the industry analysis around that, what we need to know in relation to that company.
Mm-hmm.
So once you've done that, then that will be your final revisions next week. And then that's one of the things that each team will present so that we can check your work to make sure that your industry analysis page is done.
Okay, that means we will present industry analysis page again on coming Friday based on what company we get on Monday.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Also,
So
you will have some other
have
assignments related to the company itself.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's not going to be about modifying the industry page. Once you know the company, we're going to start giving you assignments related to the company itself.
Mm-hmm.
But as you know, all of the assignments are going to be individual. So each one of you should be working individually, submitting individually, and so on.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Got it.
So
Other
I have
questions?
a question.
Yep.
So it regards this well, the reworking of the industry analysis we're going to be doing. So I want to clarify. So basically, does it mean once we get the industry, would we have to work on, because I got the feel that chapter one should be like the general industry. So does it mean we'd have to edit like paragraph 2 and 3 to fit the company, or are we editing from paragraph 1, which is the general industry, down? What paragraph do we introduce? Like, do we narrow it down to the company? That's
So
what I want to.
some industries are really simple, right? Let's take the energy industry. You have ExxonMobil, you have Shell, you have, oil and gas companies. They're very similar. There's 10 of them. But the capital goods industry is not like that. It's a mess of lots of different companies doing very different things. And therefore, it's a very difficult industry to analyze because it has different parts. What part of it are you analyzing? Well, you don't actually know what part you're analyzing. So you're doing your best. You're doing electrical components, or you're talking about, other aspects, but you really don't know what direction to go. But on Monday, once you see the company, you're going to realize what sub-industry or, sub-industry that it's in, and you're going to say, okay, so this is company ABC competing against three other companies, so I'm going to reshape this a bit to be around that space that they're competing in. There's no sense in writing about another part of the capital goods industry that has nothing to do with that particular company. Some of what's on your slides right now have nothing to do with the company, and therefore you'll want to modify that and get it focused not on the company so much as on the group of companies, the competitors, and what the industry looks like. And it's a challenge that any analyst is going to face when you are working in the industry, because some industries are very homogeneous and others are very diverse. In the real estate industry, we have a sub-industry called REITs. All the REITs are almost identical. And therefore, it's easy to say, I'm just going to look at that sub-directory, or that sub-industry, but not in the capital goods one. Okay, next question. This is the best part, right? Some people stay around to ask questions. Some people stay around to listen to questions. Some people stay around because they don't realize the class is over and they can actually leave. So up to you. All right, who else has a question? Feel free to leave if you got to go, but stick around if you got a question or you want to listen to the questions.
Sorry, I have one question. It's regarding the schedule of the class. So every week following this week will follow the same schedule as this week, right?
Yeah, it'll be
Okay.
Monday, and we'll give you the assignment, and then Friday we'll have feedback Friday, and then on Tuesday and Thursday you'll have tutoring sessions if you want.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yep. You'll get it. After a second or third week, you'll be in the groove. Okay, other questions? Tarapong, are you at work? I noticed the ceiling up there. Is that work or at a restaurant, or where is that?
I'm at Starbucks.
Okay, okay, easy. That's
Yeah.
good. That's good. All right, other questions? Today, I met a while ago, maybe a year ago. I was on Instagram, and a lady had posted some picture of something that her mother does, which is to make some like little bags. And so I just thought, I support her mother. And I sent her a message, said, I'll buy one of those. And it was, I don't know, $5 or whatever. And so she shipped it to me, and I gave it to my mother. And then I showed the lady, like, share this with your mother. Here's my mother, getting it. That was about a year ago. And I never talked to that lady again. I was sitting at a coffee shop today in between meetings, and a lady walked by me, and she just looked at me. And I thought, it's not that common that a woman walks by and looks at me. And so I decided, I was kind of joking, like, we have a meeting, right? And she was like, yeah. She said, actually, you're the guy that bought that thing from my mom. And I was like, that's incredible. So that was kind of funny, a funny day today. All right, other questions? It happened in a Starbucks. That's what reminded me of that. All right, other questions? We like questions. Tomorrow I'm going to go present our global investment strategy at Phenomena, which is a fintech platform here in Thailand. And for anybody in Thailand that wants to go, just let me know. And going to bring my mom. It's going to be fun. And we're going to try a couple new things. The first new thing is that we've identified the top 7 or 8 frequently asked questions, and we've created a great handout so that I can basically tell people, read the handout. Don't ask me that question. It's already been answered. And then I'm going to do one-on-ones afterwards to talk to people about their own financial situation and stuff. So that's going to be a fun event tomorrow. So we're ready for it. All right, other questions?
Oh, may I ask, what time is the event?
It's from 10 until noon, I think, at Phenomena.
Oh, okay.
You want to go?
I wanted to go, but I have to go to university tomorrow, so next time.
Yep. Okay, other questions?
I think you can skip university. I
No,
always skipped university classes.
no, but you got to get good grades, Mormon. Okay, good. Any other questions? Excellent. Well, good to see all you guys, and just keep your questions coming in the office hours. This is a good chance that you can ask any questions, including personal ones, career development, or anything like that. So this is our time. All right, let's have a nice evening. I'll share this after we record this into the group. And well done. It's not easy in the first week, and you guys did great. So we'll see you on Monday.
Thank you, Andrew, and thank you all.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
All right.